Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Z. It is that time of year, holiday ops season, and here is another box tank, the BZ-176 Tier 8 Chinese Premium Heavy Tank. Yeah, this is the one. The one with the rockets and the big derp gun. Let's get into it. So, 160mm gun. Two different types of ammunition. You got your AP round 208 pen 650 alpha, and you have your Hesh shell 225 pen with 800 alpha if you pen. Shell velocities, AP is at 860, Hesh at 760. Yeah, so the Hesh is just better in every way it seems, other than shell cost and shell velocity. And the fact that if you don't pen, you'll still do a little bit of damage, but with the AP, you can overmatch. You probably will use the Hesh most of the time anyways. So I use a very standard loadout, vents, rammer, V-stab. There are plenty of arguments to be made to drop everything but the V-stab for things like turbo or HP or for aiming unit, gun laying drive, any combination thereof. I think it'll come down to personal preference. I like having a combination of view range, gun handling, and DPM. With this loadout, I have over 460 meters of view range, so I'll be able to spot stuff for myself. And with the V-stab, the gun handling is decent, and the vents also help with that. And then the DPM is also marginally better because I am running vents directive, and rammer. As normal, BIA, bunch of the other stuff. I'm using all-terrain suspension on the second one for field mods. This is just the best one. It'll help you with your traverse and your top speed on soft terrain. I also use the aiming circle size reduction, so I do have a longer aim time but more accurate. And then I also increase my view range and stun time because I normally fix my stun anyways, so I might as well increase my view range as much as possible. DPM, if you pen your Hesh shells, is 2500, which is very low in the grand scheme of things. You can get 3K on some of the tier 8 heavies nowadays. 2000 with the AP. Aim time, terrible, 3.16. Accuracy, I mean, it's pretty bad, but you do have to realize that it is a 160mm. Like, that's a big gun. It's bigger than the ISE 152's gun, which, of course, has a 152mm. Your top speed is slow at 30, and you also have 15 reverse. Your power to weight is only 10. This thing does have rocket boosters, though, which tanks.gg is unable to show currently. My assumption is it will show it at some point, but it increases your power to weight and your top speed, but it reduces your reverse speed because, well, they're backwards facing rockets. Your HP is pretty healthy for a tier 8 heavy tank at 1600, well, 1550 base. It's the same as the IS-3A. Your hull armor and turret armor are pretty good. We'll get into that right here. So, side profile, I want you guys to notice the fact that the roof is sloped and the fact that the gun actually comes out of the turret. So that is two things to keep in mind. One of those being the fact that this turret roof is sloped. You will be able to pen this tank if you're facing it by just shooting at it. Especially higher caliber guns will go right through it. You can just overmatch or just pen. So you want to try to get your tank like at an angle up so that this isn't just showing. So, get your gun depression, go like this, prop up the front of your tank so the roof isn't an easy pen. But this is still going to be pennable above your gun, and it's not all that thick. So it is a weak point. You do have a lower plate that is about 130, 140 effective, but it is not the entire plate. It is actually the lowest plate. This is not going to be penned by tier 8s. The upper plate is not that thick either, so if something's face hugging you, this thing is pretty low profile, they'll be able to pen your upper plate pretty easily. You can side scrape. That is the good news. You are able to side scrape quite effectively, even at quite a big angle. The side armor is pretty impenetrable, but it is a wide tank, so the gun is quite a long ways away. So if you are side scraping at the optimal angle, you're actually going to show a little bit of your weak lower plate. So keep that in mind. Anyways, let's get into some gameplay, show the memery that this tank actually is. So first things first, rocket boosters. You have 4 opportunities to use it. You almost always will use one at the beginning, which this is where I use it. It is not very maneuverable when you're using the rockets. Like it turns like a boat. Just keep that in mind. So you do want to aim as long as possible. There's a good example. I do not have the time to do some actual video editing. This will be a one take. Otherwise, I would clip together some of my other replays where I did not do very well. If I wasn't fully aiming in, or even if I was not penning. But look at that, 866. I almost did 900 damage against the same tier heavy tank. Absolutely ridiculous. And just like that, I'm up to 1,000 damage. 1 pen and 1 non-pen, and I'm at 1,000 damage. And like I said, this thing has 10 degrees of gun depression. This thing can play ridgelines very well. Now, unfortunately, that was just a badly aimed shot, but that would have been great if I'd hit that. This thing does reload faster than the Caliban, so just like that, another 700 damage. This thing is a meme. So as I was saying about clipping together other replays, this thing is inconsistent. Your gun can troll you extremely hard, so keep that in mind. But, I mean, look at that. 807 damage, kill another heavy tank. It's just ridiculous. Also in the other replay, I had an RHM penning my turret roof. Yeah, there we go, 779. I'm already up to 3,300 damage, and I've only fired a few shots. It's absolutely ridiculous. This thing is going to be a feast or famine type of tank. It is slow, it has bad accuracy, bad aim time, but oh man, if you pen, that's a low roll, and I hit for 600. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Do I think this should be in the game? Probably not. Is it fun to play? At times. Is it fun to play against? I don't think so, because do you want to lose more than half your health? And here I use the rocket boosters again. I mean, doing 800 to a KV5. This is probably the tank everyone wants to go for in the boxes. And I can see why. It is probably the one that I would go for too if the Char 75 didn't exist. I actually think the Char 75 is more fun just because it is more consistent. But that is not to say that the BZ-176 is not fun. Is it worth it? I think so. I think this is one that you will want to pick up just for the memes while it's in the game. It reminds you of the old KV2 just because of what it can do. It has really high pen. Like, you can pen the front of tier 8 heavy tanks for 800 damage. It's just ridiculous. Of course, you also have the special mechanic of the rocket boosters, so you will go pretty quickly for a short amount of time. It'll help you get you to your initial position or when you're chasing damage at the end. Yeah, hopefully this video will help you guys out. I think this will be one of my favorite meme tanks. It is going to be really frustrating to 3-mark because it is inconsistent, but it is what it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave those below. Feel free to subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good holiday season.